Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 853, we have something a little different. Now, Grist the Hunger Tide is a planeswalker that does not have the line of text that says this planeswalker may be your commander. However, it's got a weirdly different line of text. As long as Grist isn't on the battlefield, it is a 1/1 insect creature in addition to its other types. Now, if it's not on the battlefield, that means anywhere. Hand, deck, command zone. Not in your deck. In your binder. This is a legendary creature. When you're thinking about building a deck, this is a legendary creature. So, when this came out, MH2 came out, I had the question of if this was a legal commander or not. So I figured I went straight to the source. I asked Sheldon, he said it is a legal commander. So, because that line makes it a legendary creature. So, a legendary insect. So let's get to it. It's kind of different. So for 3 mana, we get a 3 loyalty walker, which we read the static line, +1. This is what the deck is all about. Create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill a card. If an insect card was milled this way, put a loyalty counter on Grist and repeat this process. Now, the -2, you can sack creature when you do destroy target creature planeswalker. That's, sure, it's a fine mechanic. -5, each opponent loses life equals number of creature cards in your graveyard. Sure, that's probably going to win us some games because this first ability, there is a 56% chance, slightly more because Grist doesn't start out in the deck. Anyway, we have 56 insects in the deck. Most of them they might as well be blank cards, I'll be honest with you. I wanted the maximum amount of insects in the deck and still have somewhat of a playable deck. So, it's kind of a one-trick pony, yes. We're going to draw insects and play them, so we have blockers and whatnot for Grist. But here is the actual deck. Beyond the insects and lands, we have 8 cards. Now, we have Sign and Blood for some card draw. Plumb the Forbidden, same thing. Copy the spell for each creature you sacrifice this way. This will help us if we are in the lead on loyalty and we have a lot of creatures in play that we need in the yard for that last ability. Ghastly Demise is a good 1 black mana removal spell that doesn't get played a lot because it relies on number of cards in your graveyard. Well, we are just flat out stocking the graveyard. Rites of Flourishing. Everybody loves double meat, double cheese. Putrefy for some removal. Witherbloom Command. Exoskeletal Armor, I think, is going to be an all-star. Now, I haven't had a chance to play this particular deck, but +X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. If I had like in Garrick's Wake, that would have been a sweet card in here. Although I have no ramp. No ramp whatsoever. No soul rings, no rampant growths, no nothing. I wanted every slot available for insects to do it. That way, more than half the time, when you activate him, you get to, do it again, essentially. And then we have an overrun, because we're going to have insects, so we might as well, make them do something. Now, I believe, wow, these are all in reverse CMC order. Okay, that's the thing. There's a lot of good insects out there. Some I didn't have. But we'll start from the highest and go down. Giant Ataphage, 7/7 Trample. That makes a copy of itself when it deals combat damage to a player. That's pretty nice. Thriss, Nantuko Primus. Just randomly giving something 5/5. Ant Queen, it's a beautiful, beautiful insect. If you've got some mana, she can make some more. Vorapede, comes back from the dead once. Rust Scarab. Now, I tried to get as many decent insects that would have some kind of validity to it. When it becomes blocked, you may destroy an artifact or enchantment defending player controls. So it's kind of removal, but it's got to get blocked. Vexing Beetle, not going to lie. This is in here because I've had the foil in my binder for, gosh, 18, 19 years. Yeah. That's why. Deadbridge Goliath. I tried to use as many scavenge cards as possible because they're going to be in the yard. That's the plan anyway, right? Nantuko Disciple. Now, the just about anything with Nantuko in it is an insect. We're about to dive into some really older cards that's before they started doing race class, but they all have all been updated in their Oracle text. These are all insects. Nantuko Cultivator. Discard any number of lands and put that many counters on it and draw that many cards. That may be a thing. If we get flooded with lands, Nantuko Calmer. You can sack it to destroy an enchantment. Here again, that's something that we want to do. All of these abilities are relevant. It's an insect. It has threshold. We're probably going to get there. And we can sacrifice it to put it in the yard to nuke an enchantment. Nantuko Mentor, where X is that creature's power. Target creature. That's what I like about this one. Saber Ants. Yes, this is donated by our good friend, Mr. Danny Mason. Thank you, Danny. He was, I can't remember what he was buying packs of, and he bought one pack, and it was absolutely, it left a lot to be desired. The best card in that pack was this Saber Ant. And he just threw it on the table. He said, here, use this in a deck. And I actually needed it. Because it's an insect. Nantuko Elder is just a mana dork. But it gives you 2 mana, so that's not bad. The Blight Cutters, Pro Black. Twig Walker. Phantom Nantuko. Now, the Advocate cycle. I kind of like those because you can make friends, return 2 cards in an opponent's graveyard to their hand to destroy target artifact or enchantment. It taps to do this, so if you can make a deal at the table to where if you don't use those cards against me, I'll give them back to you. Locust Swarm. You want to talk about a blocker. Flying, regenerate, and untaps. Bane of the Living. Turn face up, all creatures get -X. This is our board wipe. Granted, we have to pay 3 to morph it down and then pay the X to unmorph it, but it works and it fits the theme, Nantuko Vigilante. Rustic. Good point here. 3 and below, I try to use as many artifact insects as possible, mainly because they're just way easier to cast, and so that's what I did. Caustic Wasp deals combat damage to a player. You may destroy target artifact. Ferropede, unblockable, nice. Hornet Nest, gotta have that Hornet Nest to block with. Nantuko Husk for if we need to sacrifice a bunch of things. Or swing with a really big dude. Pincher Beetles. I've always kind of liked Pincher Beetles. I don't know. Praghata Pillerbug. You can give it lifelink. Yavimaya Gnats is another great blocker, flying, regenerating. Swamp Mosquito. Randomly giving out a poison counter. Skylasher is pro blue and reach. I mean, it's blocking the blue flyers, right? Dust Shell Crawler. If you'll notice, there is a lot of low mana cost here. We're going down. Put a 1/1 counter creature. Each creature you control the 1 counter has trample. That's not that big of a thing here. A Caridian Echo. So if you want it to be in the graveyard, it can be. If you just need a blocker for 1 turn. Dark Brown Stinger modular. Bayou Dragonfly, Flying and Swamp Walk. The Thelanite Monk is an insect cleric now. I'm not exactly certain why there are Fallen Empires cards on the reserve list. I realize they made a blanket thing, but they've adjusted the reserve list 2-3 times now. That's a topic for a different video. I have a kind of reserve list idea mulling around I'm doing research for. It'll be a different video. Anyway. Blister Beetle. Target creature is -1. I better hurry this up. We're still got a lot to go. Emerald Dragonfly. I mean, if I can use a Legends card, I'm going all right. Fog of Gnats. Flying Regenerating. I love the Flying Regenerating because we can't let people hit our commander. Joris Time Bug. Joris Toolbox was the kind of original version of it. It is also an insect. Iron Shell Beetle. Nantuko Tracer. Ferropede. I'm sorry, Necropede. It's got Infect. I mean, it might get there, right? Nessian Horn Beetle. A Plague Stinger. I figure, you know, Flying Infect. Now we're into our 1-drops. Got our Brass Gnat and our Clockwork Beetle. Bond Beetle. Carrion Beetle. Caustic Caterpillar. Mortician Beetle. I specifically used the rare version. It's common now. Wirewood Symbiont. We can't use that ability. Slithering Heartstopper. Plague Beetle. And Phyrexian Battleflies. Now, there is a possibility that we may get somewhere just by out-creaturing someone. You know, because it's entirely possible. Turn 1 creature, turn 2 creature, turn 3 creature, and just get somewhere with dude math. I don't know. Anyway, that brings us to our non-basic lands, which is just pretty much what you would expect. We have Undergrowth Stadium. Love this cycle. It's great. Temple of Malady. Llanowar Waste. Tainted Wood. Woodland Cemetery. Darkboar Pathway. Command Tower. Terramorphic Expanse. Evolving Wilds. Hissing Quagmire. Darkmoss Bridge. Jungle Hollow. Golgari Guildgate. And Rot Farm. And then 2 cycle lands, you know, Tranquil Thicket and Barren Moor, just in case we draw those and want to cycle them away. So, that's Grist. Like I said, I have not played this yet. I even went slim on the lands. I don't know if it may be a very poorly conceived idea. Granted, it might be. But I wanted to maximize the number of insects so that I could just keep, you know. That was about the only way I knew how to do it. Not really the only way, but ain't gonna lie, it seemed like a fun way, right? Well, we're well past 13 minutes, and I know most of y'all stopped watching at the 4-minute mark, because that's what my numbers tell me is the average is about 4 or 4.5 minutes. So if y'all are still watching, I appreciate it. It helps bring the average up. Thank you so much. But we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.